Chapter 7, Omaha, the Bloodiest Hour. June 6, 1944. DOS 6003 hours. Easy red, dog green, fox green. Omaha Beach. The ramps of the first landing craft dropped, and hell opened. The cold seawater exploded with bullets the moment the Americans stepped off the boats. Machine guns hidden in fortified bunkers poured fire into the narrow strip of sand. Mortar shells crashed around them, ripping through boats and bodies with terrifying ease. Many soldiers drowned before they fired a single shot, pulled under by the weight of their gear or finished by German fire as they struggled in the waves. A young medic named Wesley McCarter recalled, "The water turned red, not pink red, men floating everywhere." We were told the first wave would have it rough, but nothing prepared us for that. The killing zone, Omaha, was a nightmare of geography and design. Steep bluffs overlapping machine gun nests, hidden mortars, reinforced bunkers, barbed wire mines, anti-landing obstacles. The Germans had every advantage. The Americans had only courage. Private James Gaffney crawled behind a steel obstacle, bullets pinging inches from his head. He pressed himself into the sand, shaking uncontrollably. A sergeant, bleeding from his leg, crawled beside him and shouted, "Get up! If you stay here, you'll die! Get up and move!" "I can't," Gaffney screamed. But the sergeant grabbed him by the collar, dragged him forward, and pushed him toward the shingle line. "Then die moving!" he shouted. Gaffney ran. Somehow he survived. Thousands did not. Saving Private, everyone medics worked under non-stop fire, dragging wounded men to whatever cover they could find. Supplies ran low. Ammunition ran low. Morale wavered. Colonel George Taylor, commander of the 16th Infantry Regiment, stood tall in the open while bullets whizzed past him. His famous order became legend. Two kinds of people are staying on this beach, the dead and those who are going to die. Now let's get the hell out of here. His defiance sparked something in the troops. Small groups began advancing. A demolition team crawled toward the seawall, placing charges under fire. When they detonated, a section of wire vanished in smoke and debris. Through that gap, American soldiers poured forward, breaking the bluffs. The key to Omaha was simple but brutal. Someone had to climb the bluffs. Dozens tried. Dozens fell. But slowly, painfully, groups of survivors clawed their way up the slopes using bayonets, hands, and sheer willpower. Grenades arced into bunkers. Flamethrowers roared. Grenadiers fought room to room. At 09 thoughted, a breakthrough. At 10 thoughted, another. By noon, American forces began overrunning German strongpoints, and by afternoon, Omaha was theirs. But the cost was horrific. Of the roughly 34,000 men who landed on Omaha that day, thousands became casualties. To this day, Omaha Beach stands as one of the bloodiest battlefields in American history. Chapter 8, UTH, the Occidental Landing. June 6, 1944, 0603 hours. We'll start the war from right here. The story of Utah Beach could not have been more different from Omaha. The first wave of Americans landed 2,000 yards off target, pushed by strong currents, rough seas, and chaotic navigation. Mistakes in war often lead to disaster, but this mistake saved hundreds of lives. The section they landed on was less fortified, less mined, and lightly defended. General Theodore Roosevelt Jr., who insisted on landing with the first wave despite arthritis and a cane, surveyed the area, realized they were in the wrong place, and calmly declared, "We'll start the war from right here." His courage under fire became legendary. Rapid advances. The troops moved quickly inland, encountering scattered German resistance. Paratroopers from the 101st, who had been fighting since midnight, linked up with the beach forces. Farms, crossroads, and villages fell rapidly. German units retreated or were captured. Within hours, Utah was secure. Compared to Omaha, the casualties at Utah were remarkably low. But the success was earned through grit, airborne heroism, and Roosevelt's calm leadership. Chapter 9, Gold Beach, the British Strike Hard. June 6, 1944, 07,025 hours. The British 50th Infantry Division rushed ashore under a storm of machine gun and artillery fire. The early minutes were bloody. Tanks hit mines, infantry was pinned down, and waves of troops struggled to advance. But as the smoke thickened, something changed. The arrival of the Funnies, Major General Percy Hobart's specially designed armored vehicles, called Hobart's Funnies, proved invaluable. Flail tanks cleared mines. AVRE tanks blasted bunkers. Bridge layers created instant crossings. DD amphibious tanks provided fire support. The German resistance began to break. By afternoon, the British captured Arromanches, a key town that would soon become home to the massive Mulberry Harbor, a portable seaport that allowed the Allies to unload thousands of tons of supplies each day. Gold Beach was a triumph of innovation and discipline. Chapter X, Juno, the Canadians Fight Like Lions. June 6, 1944, A7,045 hours. Juno Beach was supposed to be easier than Omaha. It wasn't. The first wave of Canadian infantry ran straight into heavy fire. German defenses were stronger than expected. Casualties in the first minutes reached nearly 50%. But the Canadians refused to break. They pushed forward with ferocity, clearing trenches, houses, and bunkers with relentless determination. One officer radioed, "Juno is hell. But we are taking hell apart, piece by piece." By noon, the Canadians had advanced farther inland than any other Allied force. Juno Beach became one of the most successful, yet most hard-fought landings of D-Day. Chapter X, Sword Beach, the Gateway to Caen. June 6, 1944, 97.25 hours. The British 3rd Infantry Division landed on Sword Beach with two main objectives: capture the city of Caen, link up with British paratroopers who had seized Pegasus Bridge. German resistance was fierce. The 21st Panzer Division counterattacked aggressively. The fighting was brutal, street by street. Yet by evening, British units had come within striking distance of Caen and linked up with airborne forces. Pegasus Bridge, a daring victory. Earlier that night, British gliders executed one of the most precise airborne landings in military history. 6 gliders silently landed just meters from the Pegasus Bridge, surprising the German defenders and capturing the vital crossing within minutes. Had they failed, German reinforcements could have reached Sword Beach and unleashed a devastating counterattack. Their success saved thousands of lives. Chapter 2, The Longest Day. By the end of June 6, 1944, Hudi 6,000 Allied troops had landed. 5 beaches were secured. Airborne forces held key towns. German reinforcements were delayed. Hitler remained convinced. Normandy was a feint thanks to the deception plan, but the cost was immense. Thousands lay dead across Normandy's fields and shores. Families across the world would soon receive telegrams that shattered their hearts. Yet despite the sacrifice, the impossible had happened. The Atlantic Wall had been broken. Europe had been breached. The beginning of the end for Nazi Germany had arrived.